What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Tay. Well, let's jump right into it because I ain't got all day and y'all ain't got all day and I ain't here to waste your time. So, we're doing a request from one of our favorite subscribers, Mr. Bellamy. If you didn't see last week's episode, I did like an overall conversation about the Bernie Mac show in general and kind of like gave y'all my sentiment of the show and what I felt about it. So he requested season 1, episodes 21 and 22, Sweet Home Chicago. Just broken down into part 1, part 2, if you don't know. So in part 1, basically Bernie Mac's neighborhood uncle passed away. So they ended up going home to Chicago and uh went to go pay respects and also be there for the funeral. Turned into Bernie paying for the funeral, being harassed by who technically is his brother, but he don't know that yet, and y'all don't know that yet. But um, they grew up as if they were cousins. But anyway, um, so it ended up turning into cousin D asking Bernie for the money for the funeral, money for a comedy club. It just turned into that type of episode. The kids wanted to see their mom, so they went to try to see their mom. She stood them up, which left Bernie and Nessa both speechless. Bernie he was speechless in the sense of how he was so upset with his sister for reneging on her own kids. Um, Nessa was speechless with Vanessa. Um, that's what Bernie called her, Nessa. Um, but y'all hold it down back there. Um, they D end up asking Bernie for like 10K to start the comedy club, by the way. Anyway, so Stacy, which is Bernie's sister, who was Vanessa, Jordan, and Brianna's mama, um, end up calling Bernie, going off on Bernie. You don't get to hear her going off, but you could tell by Bernie's reaction that she was basically going off on Bernie, right? Um, we fast forward that ends up getting to the funeral, and D begins to go sit down, go sit down. Your mom's at work. I need you to go have a seat, please. She's taking a nap. Go sit down. Go. Can you go have a seat, please? Let me finish this. I'll be right there. Sorry, y'all. My niece is over here. Um, but while they at the funeral, Dee is steadily harassing Bernie about the money for the club, telling him stuff about how he gonna do the club, what he need from the club, what Bernie wanna do. Just at the funeral, at his own dad's funeral, just constantly yapping, about this BS. And Bernie had had enough of it. So Bernie ends up snapping at the funeral on D, but everybody thought he was snapping at his uncle. And pretty much Big Mama explains to Bernie he didn't ruin the funeral. It is what it is. We all know how D can push a button and blah 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 blah. So she tells him don't give D the money. He ain't gonna do nothing but squander it away. And at the end of the episode, Bernie ends up telling everybody pretty much like make sure the ones you love, you show them their flowers and respect while they're here. Don't wait till they die to try to come and show them love and respect, right? Part 2 is pretty simple and to the point. Bernie goes down memory lane. Nessa ends up getting jumped by her old neighborhood friends who were upset that her uncle came and gave her a better life. Um, she gets stood up by her mom again. So Nessa decides to pretty much give up on her mom. Bernie and her have a real heart-to-heart conversation, and she pretty much is like, "Let's just go back home to L.A. and or California. What was they in California? Were they in L.A.? I forget exactly where they were in California. Now I'm thinking about it. They might have been in L.A. or they might have been in. I think they were in L.A. But her and Bernie shared a real good conversation about it. That episode kind of went by so fast. It wasn't really a lot about part 2 besides just that Bernie going down memory lane and the kids getting Jordan and Brianna getting to see what where Bernie grew up at and what he used to do, and then Nessa running back into her old neighborhood friends and finding out that people switch up on you when they think that you doing better than them and so forth. Um, and then you got Bernie, who at the end of the show finds out that his uncle was actually his father. And he doesn't get upset. He doesn't get mad. He gets emotional about it, but it actually warmed his heart at the end. So with both of those episodes, the biggest takeaway was to one, never never forget to show love. Never stop showing love. Make sure you keep giving flowers to those who have been supportive of you and loved on you. Now, granted, it makes sense why he cared so much about Bernie because Bernie was his son. The only thing about this show that kind of threw me off is I wonder why nobody ever told Bernie that that was his father. Like, I wonder what the backstory was on that because we never got a backstory as to why his father pretended to be his uncle and led him to believe another man was his father, even though they knew that wasn't the case. I never understood that part. It never made sense to me. I never like really understood what was the purpose of that. You know, but even though the episode was those two episodes were supposed to be serious episodes, it still had some funny fucking parts because Bernie Mac is just naturally fucking funny. So I will say part two. I don't think part two really had no funny parts like that, but part one definitely has some funny parts. But with Bernie Mac's comedic genius and the seriousness of those two episodes, it made it hard not to laugh when you weren't supposed to laugh. But I will say that out of season one, those are probably the two most important episodes of that season because you got to see what the show's layout was going to be. Yes. What? No, no, no. Stay there. I got to finish my show and I'll be right with you, okay? Okay. You need to blow your nose? Give me a second. Give me like 2 more minutes. I'll be done. Lonnie, go see what your sister wants. Your big sissy wants you. Yeah, she wants you. Go see her. Go get Kaya. It's my life. Sorry, it's my life. Um, but back to the show. Um, me, I really like how authentic those episodes really were because real talk, you got family like that though. And then you got people in your neighborhood like that. That once they think you've elevated, they think you're better than them, not the other way around. Cause all Nessa wanted to do was pay for the stuff they used to steal. That's all she wanted to do was treat them to something that she got exposed to. And instead of the other girls, except for one girl didn't get involved. She was a big, tall basketball player looking chick, and she didn't get involved. But instead, the other two girls, you know, being like, "Nah, I'm not down with that." They fell right into the trap and try to treat Vanessa like shit because she wanted to treat her like shit, taking her shoes and throwing them far across the street, and it's just a lot of immature ass shit. But I get it, the kids. But I don't think Nessa told Bernie about that either. I don't think she did, you know. But what was I gonna say about that? But in part two, when Bernie found out that his uncle was really his father, one thing I always was curious of is, so is D really his brother? You know, and then if that's the case, the man that was supposed to be his father, it's so many questions I had, and I wish that Bernie Mac was still here so I could ask him about his own show. Let me make sure this shit ain't interrupt my recording. Nah, it's still going. Sorry about that. I was trying to make sure my recording wasn't getting to make sure my recording wasn't getting interrupted. But if I had to just talk about a few characters besides Bernie and Nessa, um, Jordan made one of the episodes in one of them scenes funny when he kept asking, "What's ribbed for you for her pleasure?" Jordan was such a non-innocent child from the time he opened up from being with Bernie that it is just it's just too funny. What was I going to say? Oh, you know what I thought was dope, and I wish they would have just not gave her kept her nickname Big Mama. Okay, I'll be right with you, baby. I wish they would have gave her name Big Mama because I like the fact that that's who they chose to play Mama. So is that Bernie's mama too? So many questions that I have because I feel like that's Bernie's mama, maybe or maybe not. No, it's not. Oh, I just put it together. So if his uncle is his daddy, right? And Big Mama or Livia. Okay, give me just a second. If that's Dee's mama, right? And Bernie's mama is another woman, right? That now makes sense why they thought why he would think that that's his uncle and why he pretended to be his uncle so he can be in Bernie's life still. But whole time, he's his father. Now I wonder if she knew that that was Bernie's son after all them years. See, it's so many things, but it made sense because you know back in the day when a man had kids with another woman, stay there. When they had kids with another woman, they didn't really want it to intervene with their life. Hmm, makes sense now. Yeah, she's in my room. Go check on your sissy. Yeah. Well, y'all, as you can see, I'm not gonna be able to give y'all a full episode, but that is the recap of the Bernie Mac season one, part episode 21 and 22, part one and two. Um, at the end of the day, that those two episodes, even though it was a short recap and a short, lived moment, those two episodes really, really, really resonated with me in so many different ways that most people will probably never understand. So, um, what was I gonna say? It was something else I wanted to say to y'all about that episode. Hold on. Let me see if I wrote it down. Oh, I didn't write it down. Dang, it was something else about that episode. Well, part one that I was thinking about. Um, damn. What was it? Oh, when they went to go pick out the caskets, and he got talking about how big his casket is, big his casket that. Bernie Mac better than me, cause I would have had to tell D where he can kiss it. And then on top of that, man, I feel like D might have known Bernie was his brother too, low key. As nosy as he is, and as grimy as he is, he probably knew Bernie was his brother, which is why he probably felt comfortable with Bernie paying for the funeral because that's his brother. Uh, but anyway, all in all, the Bernie Mac show, like I said before, is a great show. Those two episodes really, really, really was important to the entire pilot, if you ask me, because without those two episodes, you wouldn't be able to understand how gritty and raw the show was really about to become, just to be completely honest. But until next time, I appreciate y'all for rocking with your host. I hope y'all have a wonderful Friday. Have a great weekend. And I'll see y'all next week for another episode. Peace out. Oh, and sorry for my niece talking in the background, but that's my life. Peace out.